I think we've determined moving abroad long term brings a lot of paperwork with it for either you or your professional that you hire. Now, ideally, in a best case scenario, someone talks to you, as we said, before they move, someone talks to an attorney before they move, and sort of gets all these things on track. But life isn't perfect. Not everything happens the way that it should all the time. So if you discover, oh, I should have been filing this form, but I didn't know about it, or I thought I filed this form correctly, but it turns out I did it wrong. What happens when you have that kind of mistake, or if you're trying to clean up a mess a little bit behindhand, not because of anything malicious, but just because it's a lot to keep track of?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. My first advice to people that find themselves in this situation is don't run from it. It's better to get ahead of it. You know, the IRS is more lenient when people are forthcoming about these types of things, because it shows that there was no willful intent to, circumvent the tax laws. And so I wrote an article about this in 2023, and we can probably link to this in the show notes, which cover a lot of the programs that the IRS has. And so there's a streamlined offshore procedures, which allow individuals who may have not filed their FBAR forms or their 8938 or certain other foreign disclosure forms to basically get right with them. And now, if you are someone who is a U.S. citizen, there may be penalties and interest that you'll have to pay, but generally those are a lot less than the penalties that come from just failure to file these forms. And so I would say what you want to do is reach out to a tax professional that has experience dealing with cleaning up these situations and being forthcoming with them so that they can present your case to the IRS and get it in front of them before the IRS finds it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I would handle it.
Yeah. What a world we would live in if ignoring problems made them go away. But sadly, that's not the world we inhabit.
No, and that's not the world that you want to be with as far as the government, right? Because
of course,
when someone is generally the tack that the IRS has taken is that if you have a foreign accounts and you're not reporting something, they generally assume that you're trying to hide something, right? You don't want to put yourself in a light where the worst case scenario can be assumed. So that's why I always say, just get ahead of it. Just take the steps to just clean it up, because you don't want them to assume the worst case scenario.